Oh my goodness. Good afternoon. And my name is Dr. Kimberly Barrington, and you are rolling with the doc today. Thank you, Beth. I want to say thank you to the Deaf and Hard of Hearing for rolling with us since May 7th of 2020. We're so excited. I know you all looking. I know you can sing. Yeah, there he is right there. How excited am I today to have the Grammy Award winner, mm, Dove winner, the maestro, the writer of Total Praise. He is the praise and worship leader. How many of us have gone through, got through on so many songs that he has written? Yes. And some of us have been background singers. So, but today we are talking to Richard Smallwood, the man. We're going to talk about leading while bleeding. Regardless of what your platform is and how you lead, we can all identify with those times in our lives where we were hemorrhaging on the inside, and yet we still had to come and bring our A game and give all that we have. And then when we go back home, we go to that dark place and say, God, can you please help me? I just delivered 10,000 folks. I just delivered 5,000 folks. Maybe you have 50, maybe you have five. But regardless of the number, you were leading while you were bleeding. Yes. Come on, let's talk about it because we don't have a whole lot of time. So we just going to get to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
Wow. So I would have to say, my first thing is, as you can see, we had the conversation in our little green room that I am in a wheelchair. In the disability community, they have those who have been born with disabilities and those who have acquired a disability. However, and then they like to divide it up into, a visible disability and an invisible. I don't like the word invisible because it connotates that something is not there. When we talk about an invisible friend or a ghost, that means that something is not there. I like to say imperceivable. And I struggled with that imperceivable demon of a disability of depression. I still, you can kind of see the mark right here from where I'm done, I'm tired. Went to slip my wrist. Somebody bandaged it up, and I just was like, I'm ready to be done with this. And it's amazing how I was told, girl, you're gonna be all right. We just gonna pray you through. Come
Oh,
on now, girl, go on a 21-day fast. You'll be all right. And let's get to going because we have ministry to do and we don't have time for that.
yeah.
And it was amazing that once I had my stroke and ended up in a wheelchair, that all of a sudden people took notice and it was like, oh my gosh, we got a person, we got to do something about this. I said, but I was just as crippled on the inside. And I said, and you blew me off. I said, this right here, I said, is just an outward testimony of what God has done on the inside.
Amen. Amen.
You know, I said, because on the inside, oh, I'm healed. While you running around here still crippled, and paralyzed by your fear or paralyzed by the anxiety that comes with the depression and wanting to hide, behind life and ministry and our platforms. What was the first thing that you said when you acknowledged your truth?
I think it was just admitting something that I had always known. I suffered with anxiety from a child, and the depression came later.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember really good friend of mine was depressed, and I was trying to get him help. And I went on the internet.
I'm laughing with you, not at you.
Right.
Look, somebody else, it's your problem, but I'm gonna help you, brother.
But you know, I had not acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm.
I had not admitted it. And I remember reading on the internet, they gave the symptoms of people who were depressed, and I had every one of them. You
Wow.
know? And I was like, oh, this is a problem, you know. But you know, there were a couple of things that happened in my life that sent me to therapy. And once I got to therapy, you know, I was immediately diagnosed with depression and anxiety. You know, and of course, like you and like so many other church people, you know, I was always told, you know, you go to the altar and you pray, you roll around a little bit.
Look, hold on, the other hand.
Right.
Get them hands up.
Right. Lift them hands. And but you know, the thing is that people don't understand that depression is a sickness, it's an illness, just like a physical illness.
Mm-hmm.
And God has put ministers, psychiatrists, doctors, therapists here to help us with those problems, to help us get through it. So there's nothing wrong with getting help. I said sometimes you need a prayer and a pill. You know,
That's our PPE kit.
absolutely. You
I
know,
mean, girl, you got that PPE kit, some prayer and a pill.
and it was a very difficult journey because, as you said earlier, you know, people were responding to the songs that I wrote and told me how I helped them, how I brought them through this situation and that situation. And after concerts, people would be giving me all these wonderful testimonies that were really encouraging. But then I'd go back to the hotel room and it just like hit me, you know, right in the forehead, you know. So it took a while to really, I guess, acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I acknowledged it, I realized, listen, Richard, God has given you a platform, you know, through your music. So through this platform, you can help others because it's such a people don't talk about it,
No.
especially in the Black community and in the Black church. You know, it's a stigma. So I'm like, since I've got this, maybe I can help somebody else with it. So that's when I really decided not only to write the book, but I decided to go out and start doing workshops and you know, talk about it to church people and just let people know that it's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, just like I have hypertension, I'm not ashamed of it. I have hypertension, so I take a pill for it. You know,
You
so
know,
it's the
it's
same thing. You know?
amazing what we consider. Again, we come from the same church community, the same
Right.
religious community, and it's interesting that it's okay to have the sugar.
Oh yeah.
You know, we got to put a the in front of
That's
everything,
it.
so that makes it
Oh
for real.
yeah,
Because you know,
absolutely.
I got the high blood pressure, I got the
Uh-huh.
sugar, you know, I got the depressions, you know,
Uh-huh.
I got the,
Right.
and it's just like what we do with sin. We have certain sins that we think are okay,
Right.
and that they are more palatable to our own psyche. They're more palatable to have that conversation in church or maybe even to preach about. But some sins, that's a no. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to touch it, you know,
Absolutely.
and God thinks that's something separate. Absolutely not.
Right.
Sin is sin.
Listen, yes.
It just is. So sickness is sickness, illness is illness. And I think that one of the pieces that we forget, especially those who are Bible scholars, Saul had depression.
Mm-hmm.
God gave Saul depression.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I'm sorry for the listening audience, it's in your Bible if you read it. And if you look up here, I think I have every version that they have of the Bible up here behind me. And it all reads the same. And the more, I want to say more watered down, but it's not so much watered down, but the more um, close to the human vernacular, it just tells it what it is. You got depression. It will,
Absolutely.
and they don't sugarcoat it as much. It's not hid behind the Greek, the Latin, and the Hebrew. It just says it straight up,
It is what it is. Yeah.
And so we seem to forget. And when I heard about your book, I said, wow, he gets to have it on both ends because God gave Saul the spirit of depression. However, he sent David, who was the chief musician, to
Right.
come in and perform his healing
Right.
tone.
Yes.
And it's like, y'all need to read your Bible, you need to study.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so, what became your healing tune?
I think it has been certainly prayer, and it certainly has been my therapy. My therapy has been, there's so many things that happen to us when we were children that if you don't deal with it
Yes.
as you get older, it does not go away. It gets worse. So it made me deal with some things that happened, when I was a kid. The anxiety that I had as a kid, the fear I had as a kid, and it's just sort of dissected what I was made of and how it came to be. And a lot of those things, when you become an adult, you sort of carry over. You say, why do I act that way? And it all stems back from things that happened to you when you were younger. And so my therapy and my relationship with the Lord has been the best. I mean, I never knew that therapy could be so healing. I had no idea because black folk you don't go to no therapist or psychiatrist.
I do.
You know
I'm,
like
I have a standing appointment.
oh I do too, but that's the mindset.
Mhm.
Back in the day, they would hide people who had mental problems in the attic down south. You didn't see them.
Yes.
you know. So, I think between my therapy and between my relationship with the Lord, as well as being able to witness and to really talk about it to people who are suffering, that's healing to me. To know that I have something that I can say to people that will help them because it's so widespread. I mean, it's
Yes.
it's like it's like a pandemic almost. I mean, it really is. It's very widespread. So that gives me comfort. It gives me a sense of healing when I can see the recognition in other people's faces when I talk about it and say, "Oh, you deal with that too? You deal with that? Well,
Yes.
what should I do?"
Yes.
And then I can talk about therapy. I can talk about the whole 9 yards. So it's been it's been a journey. It's been a journey, an interesting one.
I have a friend, and she's gonna be like, "What?" Her name is Dr. Napanji Thomas, and she is the first African American that I know of that is degreed in psychology and psychiatry, and she created a trauma institute. And
Mm,
that is her specialty, is to deal with the traumas that we have experienced. I
right.
believe that as a whole, African Americans were traumatized from the time that they was ripped from their motherland,
Absolutely.
brought here. I mean, and many did not make it on that boat, but the ones that made it to be brought here, stripped down, auctioned off,
Yeah.
divided by color, divided by what they could contribute. I mean, there has been a historical, systematic, mm, I want to use the word infused depression
Mhm.
upon us. It
Yeah.
was infused so that it became a part of our makeup of who we
Part of
were.
our DNA. Yes.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
then and
Absolutely.
then as we began to have children, they were born into that depression.
Yes.
They even have a whole era of time named the Depression era.
Right. Right.
And we don't think about things like that, that it has been infused into the fabric of our very life,
We are.
our
Yeah,
lifestyle, our communities. And until it's the band-aid of ignorance is ripped off, you know, to say, look, this has been with us for a long time.
absolutely. Absolutely.
The world gave it a whole name, gave it a whole era, a whole
Yeah.
time span. And so I guess I don't understand why we try to hide when there's a whole era that has been named depression. What are your thoughts about that? Have you even thought about it that way?
Well, there, in the African American community historically, there are just certain things we don't talk about. There's certain things like, when my mother had cancer, that was something you didn't talk about back then in the 20s and the 30s and stuff like that. That was like something like a scarlet letter or something like that. It was just something you did. So I think we've had a number of things in our community that we just, well, if we don't talk about it, it'll go away, but it doesn't go away,
No.
And I think that when you see all the different suicides that are going on from the pulpit to the back door, you know, we've got to say, okay, something is wrong here.
Yeah.
Something is wrong. We're dealing with something. And as you said, I believe a lot of it has to do with our DNA. The stuff that we endured, our forefathers endured, I think it's been passed down genetically as well. Um, I think my mother, when she was carrying me, went through a really difficult time emotionally. And I think I picked up some of that even as a fetus,
Hmm.
because, we're spirits. We forget that this is just a body. We're spirits first, housed in a body. And I believe spiritually, a lot of things affect us, and so I think for me, and sometimes I still have, bad days, but I've learned how to cope. I've learned how to deal with it. I've been on medication for probably about 15 years, maybe
Hmm.
12 years, something like that. And thank God for it.
Yeah.
I've come so close to taking my life. I mean, so close. And
And praise.
I got to the point where I was like, oh, I don't need this medication no more because I was feeling all right. I'll be fine. So I stopped taking it
Hmm.
for about 5 years. And little by little in increments, this depression started creeping back up. And before I knew it, it had absolutely consumed me. And I was trying to think of painless ways to take myself out. I began to look on the internet at a lot of suicide videos. I just became consumed by it. And I remember I Googled, how can you take your life painlessly on my computer? And the suicide hotline came up on my screen. And that just sort of jarred me. And I ran to the phone and called my therapist. She said, get to your doctor immediately. Went to my doctor, the next day. And when I walked in, he was like, Richard, what's wrong with you? I was like, well, I'm not doing well. So he took my blood pressure. He said, your blood pressure is sky high. Why is it sky high? And I just said, because I don't care. I just broke down and started crying. So that's when he got me help. He sent me to a new psychiatrist, who's a great, great guy, Christian young man. Um, and that's how I started getting myself together again. But you have to do what you need to do to live with it.
I would like to, Bronzia Williams says, thank you, Lord, that you are still with us. May I encourage you, and I am happy that you were successful in pursuing and not pursuing an end of your life. So we are definitely grateful.
I
We're thankful to Katrina Springer, and she says that we need to allow people to be transparent, listen to them, and she says, we need to be more inclusive to
Yeah.
people who are in a depressive mind state. We have Shayna, who is close to you. She is in Bel Air, Maryland. And hey, Shayna. Shayna says,
Okay.
yep. She said, knock, knock, knock. Hold on, let me come up. Took that horn. Yes. She said that if we don't get help, that the cycle will repeat itself. I know for
Absolutely.
I know for me, um, I was on lithium. I mean, that's how bad the depression was
Mm.
for me. And I remember not being able to even come out of my room,
Oh yeah.
and it had to be completely dark.
Yeah.
Every blanket had covered all the windows of my home. I had a 4-bedroom, bi-level home that had just been built. I should be happy, just elated. And I was just so depressed. And all of the windows, so if I came out of the bedroom to even go into the kitchen, all the windows in there had to be covered because
Had to
I
be
couldn't
dark.
even
Yeah.
stand the light. And I
Yeah.
felt so bad for my children that they had to see me in this state. And, I did the best that I could, but the medication just, it made me feel so horrible. But
Mhm.
I knew that I needed it. And I was like, I just don't know where else to go or what to do. And I am a United States Navy veteran. And I've never thought to go to the base and say, hey, I'm experiencing
Right.
this. And is there something I can do? And can I get some help? It wasn't until, did you hear how many years it took me?
I understand.
Okay, we
It's a
being
process.
transparent.
It's a process. Yeah.
We being transparent. It probably took me 15 years to finally come to the VA. And when they asked the question, are you safe? Do you feel okay? Um, are you depressed? Are you experiencing any anxiety? I just broke down crying.
Uh-huh. I get it.
I was like, oh, okay. For my tissue.
I understand. I definitely understand.
You know what?
I
Just
definitely understand. I understand so well. It's
I had to tell the truth.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. I'm a crybaby, but
Listen, I
but
can't
I'm
tell you
saying,
the tears I've cried.
but
Through the whole process. Um, but like I said, I'm glad that we're becoming more vocal about it.
yes.
And programs such as yours, and I just saw something. I saw Courtney Vance was on TV, the actor, Angela Bassett's husband, earlier talking about his mental health issues and going through therapy. I mean, there's so many people that are dealing with it, but I'm just glad now that people are starting to be more free to talk about it.
It's
And
because everyone else is experiencing. Again, we're back to America has said it's okay because they've given it a name. We're in a pandemic. So included in the pandemic, you get to experience the following things. And so wherever you find yourself, just know that we're all together. We're with you. And
absolutely,
it sounds almost condescending and placating. However, however you need to get it, get it. If
yeah.
the door is open, run through, walk through, or be like me, roll through.
Knock the door down. Yes,
Just do what
absolutely.
you need to do to get in the door.
Yeah,
And I love it. And one of the things that I felt that you said was so important, it was some of that stuff that had been unresolved from my childhood that
yeah,
I had been pulling along. It's almost like Linus and his
yeah,
blankelets.
yes, yes.
Is that we have those things that we hold on to because we feel like this makes me who I am. Uh,
Right.
and so it's got to be a part of me. I can't let this go because I can't be me without this piece. But guess what? I feel so liberated. I feel like I can get up and walk for real
Absolutely.
when I
Absolutely.
let those things go. So I love it because this chair just gives me an opportunity to make others feel better, to
Yeah.
come and talk. Because it's like, oh, well, she crippled. So Yeah, I can say whatever to her, but guess what? I'm healed on the inside.
Right.
You're just seeing on the outside what used to be on the inside of me.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, she was popping and clicking with 6-inch heels on, had weave all down her back. And, I was like, hello. Yeah. Hey, girl. But was so broken, going
Yeah.
home, like, oh, I can't move, I can't function, you know, but God.
But
So,
God.
so
Absolutely.
I do want to take just a second. The time is 4:26, and I want to be respectful of your time. So the time is now 4:26. I want to say thank you so much to the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, who has been rolling with us since May 7th of 2020. I am Dr. Kimberly Barrington. You're with 100 Shades of Disability, living beyond the human condition. And today, my guest is the maestro. Yes, it is. It's him for real. He just got that pandemic hair. So we see he got that ball
Oh
cap.
yeah, we got the pandemic here for real.
He got pandemic hair. He got on a ball cap. But it is him. There it is. The light keeps coming up. So when the light comes up, you'll see that it's him. It's a little dark right now. I know I can tell. But we are with the maestro, and we are having a candid conversation about leading while bleeding. And the way that we are hemorrhaging is depression and anxiety is what we're talking about today. And it's cute right now because everyone is experiencing some sort of depression because
Yes.
we're in a pandemic and we have to socially distance, and I can't come and give you a hug and a kiss, and he
Right.
can't put on a concert, but this is real.
It's real.
It's real, and it can be debilitating. It can cause physical symptoms in your body, and trust,
Yes.
it can give you headaches, uh,
Absolutely.
from regular headaches to migraines. It can cause upset stomach,
Absolutely.
heart palpitations, your
Absolutely.
arms ache, your joints ache.
Yes.
You don't understand why your feet hurt. And there's no apparent reason. Maybe you're the right weight that you need to be, but you don't understand why your body's hurting. It will manifest into physical symptoms. I
Absolutely.
love to say people will probably tell you, oh, that's just one of them invisible disabilities. It's not real. Oh, it is real. It is just imperceivable to the natural eye. But trust and believe it will manifest itself, and it will become physical, and it will become debilitating if you do not take care of it. So I would like
Yeah.
to say today, if you are experiencing depression, thoughts of suicide, please, please call the 1-800 hotline for
Yeah.
suicide. Please call your physician. Call a friend. If you're too embarrassed, call a friend. Use a fake name, whatever you need to do, but please just do it. If you're in the Detroit area, you can catch up with Dr. Napangi Thomas. She is a traumatologist, deal with some of those things that you may have experienced. If you are a veteran like myself, there is a 1-800 number that you can call. The VA will receive you, they will help you. I'm here in the Michigan area, so there are several. You can dial 1-800 827-1000, and they will come right on and they will say, hey, if this is an emergency, you feel like you need to commit suicide, they will connect with you immediately. So we do want to let you know there is help. We
Yeah.
love you. Hey, you can inbox me. I'll hook you up. Now we'll have a little conversation, but you're gonna go get some help. And maybe you might need medication.
That's
And
right.
it's okay to take medication.
It's okay.
It
It's
is,
okay. It really is.
because we have so many pastors now, with churches that are closed, that
Yes.
are experiencing depression, have been committing suicide.
Yes.
So, hey, reach out to your brothers. You
And
got
the pandemic has made it even worse. Even if you didn't have any problems before the pandemic
right.
started, being um, in this situation, I haven't seen my family in almost a year. Um, that's killing me right, and they live right here. So the loneliness, the
Yeah,
whole thing that goes along with this pandemic is rough on everybody.
it is.
So even if it's not an ongoing thing, even if it's just going on during this season that we're in, these 2020 and 2021, you still can reach out and get help. Get help. That's the most important thing. Don't be silent about it. Don't say if I don't think about it, it'll go away, because it won't.
No.
Older I got, the worse it got. You know.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to reach out, because there are a lot of people out there, a lot of situations out there, people out there that will help you get through it.
They will.
Yeah.
So my appointment is January 29th at 1400 for all those who want no military time. That's at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Uh, with my psychologist at the VA, and we do video appointments. So I come out here, in my little cuteness. You know how y'all do. We put our little top on.
Right.
I'm not gonna ask you to stand up, sir.
No, you don't want me to stand
You might have a
up.
bell.
Oh God. That's what I love about the whole Zoom thing. You can just do a little something and then you good,
It's like, hey. But no, my husband's like, babe, did you know that you didn't? I said, honey, they can only see up here. So here I
Absolutely.
see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, really cute. But January 29th at 1400 p.m., I do have my therapy appointment. And I'm telling you, she believes in God, and we have it. So yeah, I don't know that we can say that people at the VA believe in God, but they paid for me to get a doctoral degree. So
Well, listen, my therapist she's a psychiatric nurse, she's a therapist, and she's a licensed minister.
yes.
So I got the best of three worlds, you know. And we talk about the spiritual aspect of it, as well as the chemical imbalance and all of that. My grandfather, my mother's dad, committed suicide, so we think that he had it as well. So
Mhm.
like we were talking about the genetic and the DNA thing. Sometimes
Yes.
it can pass down from generation to generation.
I do believe so.
Mhm.
The only thing that my mother ever said to me was, don't, what did she say? Don't smoke weed because, you might get addicted to it. And I was like, so what does that mean? Didn't know that my uncle, he would roll up his weed and put it inside of his cool cigarette pack. So he would smoke a pack of cools. And once that pack was done, he would roll up his weed and stick them inside of there, and I just thought that those cool cigarettes just had the nastiest smell.
Right.
I didn't know. And I just was like, but I just knew that I would feel like, ooh, I feel a little funny every
A
time I
little
go.
woozy.
I was like, I don't like them cigarettes. They
Right.
make me feel weird and they stink. So, I was like, no, I don't ever want to smoke cigarettes. So I didn't want to smoke cigarettes, but didn't know that was weed.
Right.
As my family looks at me like, what? Probably watching, but again, that was my experience. That was my truth. I was just looking at some pictures, um, where I had twins. I was in the Navy, and I came home. I flew home for everyone to see my little twins, and I was like, what is? I was hanging out with him. He was so high. He went to cut open a lotion bottle and cut himself this way
Oh wow.
this way on his wrist, and it just opened up. And I was the one who ended up taking him to the hospital. Well, a few years later, he ended up committing suicide, not understanding to this day. I still don't understand. But as we went through some of his things, he had been going to counseling, and he had been journaling, and he was just so depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, his things were, they moved everything out of his apartment and put it in my grandmother's basement. So me, little Rona Barrett nosy. So, it's just good that I have a talk show. Hey, I was preparing myself for what
Right,
God had for me.
right.
Yes, that my investigative nature.
Okay.
But she would tell me to go downstairs and get a sweet potato pie out the freezer, or she would can fruits and vegetables and say,
Right.
go downstairs and give me one of them canned them beans. Yes, ma'am. And I'm sorry, they not ready yet. And so I would go go down there and happen to just start being nosy, investigative. And I found his journals and I began to read, and just how depressed
Mm,
he was and what he thought about life, what he thought other people thought about him,
mm,
which led to the self-medication. Now I understand about those packs of cools.
yes, yes.
you know,
Absolutely.
I understood about that. And so, how do you suggest, if regardless of age, how do you open up that door to say to a family member, I think I might be depressed, or I experienced something in my childhood. I see this thread where I've taken it through my adult life and I've kept it in this place called depression. And the anxiety of telling somebody causes me to really shy away and make that place where I've hid this secret. Okay, just how do you open up that door?
It's not easy. It's not easy. I think that I talk very freely with my family about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when we get together, we love to laugh and act crazy and stuff like that. But sometimes the subject will come up, and I'll just tell them my experiences. And in doing that, I found out one of my nephews was going through something similar. He admitted to me,
Wow.
So I think that you got to be vocal. You can't hide it any longer. You got to be vocal around your family,
Mm-hmm.
and encourage it. If somebody in your family is going through something like that, encourage them to get help. I mean, because if we don't talk about it, there can be no healing. We've got to talk about it. We've got to be real. We've got to and call it for what it is. It's an illness. So for me, I talk to everybody about it. My friends, we had one of my little godsons, one of his friends, came over here for I think it was New Year's Eve or something like that. And I just met him. Within 3 months, he had committed suicide. And I was like, I wish I had a young guy. He was probably in his early 20s, something like that.
Really?
And I'm like, I wish I had said something, but sometimes you don't know. People don't tell you. You just
Right.
you don't know. But that has hurt me so. It just really sort of knocked me off of my feet because I had no idea he was dealing with that. And that's the problem with it. If you don't talk about it, no one knows what you're dealing with. So I think one of the things that's so key is to be vocal. As
Yes.
vocal as you can be with friends, with family, with relatives, whoever, because you never know uh, in terms of you being vocal, what that might do to somebody else in terms of helping them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really talk about it. You have to keep the dialogue open. I think that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing.
Um, I'm batting my eyelashes at you. um, I'm batting my eyelashes.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I see.
I'm batting my eyelashes. 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know, thus says the Lord. Just I just need one bar of that because I believe that we need to really trust that Jesus loves us and that no matter what we're going through, he has us. And it's not for us to look at man and what man thinks and what man believes, but what does God say about my situation? What does God say about me?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, oh, how he loves me. Oh, how he cares for me. You just, because it just might be somebody out there that needs to know it's not as bad. I know it looks bad. It might feel bad, but trust. Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus.
Mhm. Okay, let's see what we got. Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know the say the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I prove him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus. Oh, for grace to trust him more.
Oh, hallelujah. Thank you so much. Not only was it just beautiful to hear you, but to watch it signed, just to know.
Yes, yes.
It was beautiful. So when you get an opportunity, just fast forward to the end and to watch her sign as you play, it was just,
Praise God. Praise God. Amen. Amen.
yeah, it was awesome. I want to say thank you so much again to the Deaf and Hard of Hearing for rolling with us and for providing accessibility to all. And I want to say thank you so much for sharing who you are, the man. Thank you for allowing us, number one, to come inside your home, number two, to come inside your heart, to share, to be. And I thank you so much for your transparency. And I thank you for writing the book.
God
Thank you.
bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you that when the call came, you said yes. And my name is Dr. Kimberly Barrington. Thank you so much. He is truly a man who has lived beyond his human condition. And just know that if you are experiencing depression, anxiety, any type of mental health issue, find your provider. Just know that's what this show is about, to
Yeah.
change the face of what disability looks like. Mhm. So, in case you guys didn't know, yes, she is in the chair. And disability doesn't always look like what we think that it does. And sometimes that someone who is smiling really has a frown on the inside and is crying. So when you ask somebody how they're doing, look them in their eye to really see and wait for the answer. And if you don't have it, please let them know it's okay to go get help. It's time. It's time. It's time out. The band-aid of secrecy has been ripped from the very fabric of our lives now. And we have an opportunity to really heal from some of the puncture wounds of life. I admonish you. He's done it. I've done it. Come on, guys. Let's do the work. Let's do the work. And we have you. I'm sure just reach right on out and you can find his book, Total Praise, the autobiography of Richard Smallwood. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes and Nobles. Come on, guys, because we need to make sure that we take care of one of ours, because truly he has helped us in those dark moments, moments that he will never ever know about. But we can show our appreciation by purchasing his book. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you on tomorrow when you'll be rolling on the road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And who knows what we might have in store for you on tomorrow. But thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you so much, sir, for coming on. We love you and we appreciate you.
God bless you all.
Thank you.